The State Department confirms that 35 Russian diplomats and their families have left the United States. The Obama administration expelled them over Moscow's hacking of the Democratic National Committee. This as President-elect Trump is set to be briefed by national intelligence officials on those hacking allegations. Peter Doocy is live now from Trump Tower here in New York City. Peter, the president-elect is still skeptical that Russia was behind the hacking. Why?
Patty Ann, the president-elect says that he's got some evidence he wants to keep under his hat until tomorrow or the next day, and that is the reason that he is skeptical. But he's not, and the president-elect further is not trying to suggest the U.S. intel community is trying to mislead anybody, but he just doesn't think they have the track record that deserves trust all the time.
I just want them to be sure, because it's a pretty serious charge, and I want them to be sure. And if you look at the weapons of mass destruction, that was a disaster, and they were wrong. And so I want them to be sure. I think it's unfair if they don't know. And I know a lot about hacking, and hacking is a very hard thing to prove. So it could be somebody else. And I also know things that other people don't know, and so they cannot be sure of the situation.
Mr. Trump also says no computer is safe anywhere in the world, so if somebody really wanted something to be kept a secret, they should just write it down on a piece of paper and have it delivered by courier. Patty Ann.
Or just word of mouth. Good point there. So is the president-elect giving any clues as to whether he plans to keep in place those sanctions against Russia?
His team said this morning that the president-elect plans to wait until after getting this highly classified, highly publicized briefing about possible Russian involvement in the election process. The intel officials are going to meet with Mr. Trump to explain why it is they're so certain Russia is the culprit. And while Mr. Trump decides if he wants to double down, his team is saying they think there's a double standard when it comes to who gets punished by the Obama White House.
In April of 2015, the Chinese stole millions of personal documents, classified information on individuals who have and are serving in our government, and yet there was not a single statement from the White House then. So in this case, you have 35 people being expelled, 12 degrees of sanctions being imposed, 2 sites being happened. Is this a political response or is it a diplomatic response?
2017 started off yesterday with Republican Senator Tom Cotton complaining the Obama White House's punishment for Russia was too little too late. And even though the next president may get rid of those sanctions, the transition team insists there is no rift between the incoming White House and the next Congress. Patty Ann.
All right, Peter Doocy reporting live. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.